What if you could have a career where the opportunities are as vast as our nation, where it's not about mission statements, but a shared mission? At U.S. Customs and Border Protection, we go beyond to protect more than borders. From ship to shore, air to ground, cities to local communities, CBP agents and officers are keeping people safe. Join U.S. Customs and Border Protection and go beyond for something far greater than yourself. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.
Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets, interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wanup. How are you? Ring the bell. Those Phillies, those fighting Phils. I just watched the end of the game 1 against the Diamondbacks. Yep. I'm going to the World Series. I'm going to the Bowl. I'm going to the World Series. It's going to be a good year for Philly sports. That's all I'm going to say. I am back to work. I am. I'm very excited. It was so exciting, actually, to get into it and dive in and have design conversations with my production designer, Ian Phillips, and talk to our set designer, Camille, or talk about graphics with Graham. And it was just, and of course, my team is trickling in, but my lead, Patrick, my buyer, Howard, it's cool. It makes you smile. And guess what? I walked onto the lot this morning and I saw 5 faces of people I haven't seen in such a long time. And that was nice too. And everyone sort of expressed I'm so glad to be working. Who knows how long we're going to work, because we can only prep for so long since the actors haven't signed. But hoping they get back to the table soon, and hoping it's before the holidays. Maybe we all could get a little something before the holidays. That would be nice. And I got a couple emails about my little rant last week's episode, and agreeing with me and saying, yeah, that's probably going to be it. And so I hope, and if you didn't hear it, just in saying, the brunt of cutbacks and things are going to be taken out on, I believe, are going to be taken out on creative departments. And that's a real shame. It's going to be, even I'm sure lighting and grips and costumes and makeup, I'm sure it's all going to be felt for us. They're just going to tighten up. It's inevitable. We know it. And I guess all we can do is learn from these negotiations. And then when IATSE goes to the table next year, we have a bigger, better picture of what everybody's getting and the fairness and what we all just want to have for our positions. So hoping we all learn from it, and hoping that all of these other unions stand by us the way we have stood by them. So hope, and fingers crossed. Yeah. What is Wanup watching? Hey, it's getting to be Oscar screening time, people. Very exciting. I went to a preview of the movie Priscilla, directed by Sofia Coppola. And it's about Priscilla Presley's life based on her book, Elvis and Me. And boy, that was good. That was a good film. I love Virgin Suicides. I loved, Marie Antoinette. I mean, I'm a fan of her work. I do feel, as in some of her other films, the middle drags a little bit, but overall, it's definitely go see it. The period is great. The production design is done by Tamra Deverell, production designer, and set decorator is Patricia Kusina. Bravo. I thought Graceland and Her House in Germany, and just very, very minute details that I guess Priscilla was involved in giving everyone. The costume designer was at the Q&A, and also the two actors playing Elvis and Priscilla, and I think they did a bravo job. Very good. I saw another film that I'm actually not even allowed to talk about. I've seen it so far in advance, they don't want me to talk about it. And it's good. It's so good. I can't wait to talk about it. The production design is fucking mind-blowing to me. Just the vastness and I just loved it. And I have been thinking about it for days. I mean, Priscilla was good, and you think, oh yeah, that was good. And I'd watch that again. But this movie, I've kind of like analyzed and have thought about. So I feel like that's how I know it's a good movie to me. I finished Silo on Apple. I don't remember if I talked about that, but man, that production design is out of this world. I loved it. I just thought it was so inventive and so... doing like sci-fi and fantasy is sometimes hard, coming up with like a new concept and not making everything look like Star Wars. And I think they did a bravo job on it. Production designer Gavin Bouquet and set decorators Amanda Bernstein and Joni Mead. Bravo, man. Fucking fantastic. I cannot wait for season 2. I hope there's a season 2. I watched the film Reptile, which is on Netflix, because I wanted a little Justin Timberlake, if you know what I mean. That new single with NSYNC isn't really doing it for me, so I thought I'd watch him in a movie. He was pretty good. It's Benicio del Toro. It's Alicia Silverstone. They got her in it. It's good. It's a good little mystery. It's a good little movie. Production design Patrick M. Sullivan Jr. and an old friend of mine, set decorator Paul Room. Bravo, Paul. I hope he's doing well. I haven't seen him in a long time, but bravo. Really, just, a little murder mystery. It's good. I would check it out if I were you. I'm thinking about starting Slow Horses. Has anybody watched that? Is that good? Because I like Gary Oldman, and it keeps coming up on my apples like you would like or whatever. So I might try that. And the Netflix series Follow the House of Usher has also just come out. I think I'm going to binge that. And production designer Lauren Kelsey has been on the podcast. And I remember her telling me a couple little tidbits about it. And the sets look great. And it looks interesting and scary and just in time for Halloween. I think I'm going to deep dive into some vintage horror films too around this time of year. I love to do like the old Dracula or Frankenstein and watch those. I've also been, since I knew I was starting work, have just been completely absorbed in finishing up my production design film study. I think I'm ready to start letting them out of the box. So I think I'm gonna let one out next week. Who let the dogs out? My gosh. I think I might do that. I don't know. I'm scared to start. I don't know. I've put so much into this that I hope people don't think it's dumb. Just don't tell me it's dumb. Tell me you like it. Just lie to me. But next week is also the International Production Design Week from the 20th to the 29th. And I have said every week how fantastic their lineup is, and from around the world in different cities, and Q&As and classes and everything. So I might be doing all that next week. I don't know if I'll have time to do my own shit. But one other thing I found that was interesting this week is the Hollywood Reporter put out, let me see the name of there. It is the 100 Greatest Film Books of All Time. And since I just finished that Oscar Wars, which was phenomenal, anyone who loves the Oscars or wants some like behind the scenes, I loved that book. I loved it. I would actually read it again or listen to it again. And then funny enough, it's not even on here. which then made me question this list because I like that book so much. But they have books by Paul Schrader. They have memoirs, and from all different times, like this one, Film as a Subversive Art from 1974. I mean, Wishful Drinking from Carrie Fisher. So there's a lot of Walt Disney life and biography. Negative Space, Manny Faber on the Movies, and that's from 1971. Here's David Niven from 1971. Oh, there's a lot in the 70s, huh? But yeah, so I've got this up here. I put 3 or 4 of them on my audiobooks wish list, so I am set for the next couple months. Well, on my commute, which will probably only take me a couple weeks, since it's an hour there, hour 10 home. Awesome. I'm going to bust through some of these books, but it's a good list. Again, it's the Hollywood Reporter, the 100 greatest film books of all time. So check that out. I thought it was interesting. What else I got to say? I think that's it. Let's talk about this episode. Set decorator Bradley Lang talks about the new Peacock series, The Irrational. This show follows a world-renowned professor in behavioral science, Alex Mercer, as he leads his unique expertise on an array of high-stakes cases. Him and I talk about character development in set dressing, especially in like 1 hour crime, and how it evolves over the season for his show. It was great to talk to someone who does 1 hour as I've done, like with Bones, where there's murders, and how you're developing these, characters that will only be in the one episode, but you don't want to give away the killer, or you want to, throw the audience off in the set dressing of another character. So we had a fun time discussing that. And also, reminiscing a little about my Bones days in my head while I was talking to him, so that was fun. It was an absolute pleasure to meet with him and talk with him, so I hope you enjoy. I am also a decorator. We certainly drive a lot for our jobs. I mean,
right.
It's part of our everyday multitasking is driving, doing a meeting, and being on the phone telling buyers what to do. So,
Well, that explains your wallpaper, because as soon as you came on, I was just like, ooh, that's good.
Yeah. I have, in fact, in watching the Irrational, I was reminded of my long tenure on the show Bones, because the procedural and the murders and
loved Bones.
Every episode is kind of a new set. There's something new to dive into. I mean, once you get your perm sets done, it's all focused on the mystery and the episode and everything. Are you enjoying that?
Oh, I love it. It's very nice to be able to decorate to character.
Yes.
And to feel like you're helping to motivate the story.
Yes.
And give the actors motivation, and make them feel like they're just as immersed in the environment that the writers have given you.
Yeah.
So that they can give their best performance.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll come up to, the mysteries or the murders, and how the sets are the characters for these things. And that,
very much so.
I really loved that. And I also loved, it's something different. It's not a hospital. It's not a police station every episode. So how you feeling about that?
I really like the feeling of being able to walk into all these different characters, that every episode you're getting fed these new people.
Yeah.
Because you're getting into their mindsets, the mindsets of their environment, how they say it's a murderer, just for an example, say it's a murderer.
Yeah.
What has created them through their life to become that person, and what's in the background of everybody's place is their life history and their story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just you don't want to be deliberate, as you know. You don't want to be deliberately placing things.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the nose, but...
Exactly. But it's really fun to try and to speak to the writers.
Yeah. And
to ask them, so what's the history of this person? Where did they come from? Silly questions like, where do you think they went to school?
Yeah. Oh yeah, get the
What
diplomas,
did they
get
study?
them printed out. What do they print? In fact, I think it was in episode 2. The
Mhm.
writing partner's apartment was really good. How you layered so much
Thank
with
you.
like the books and the manuscripts and everything, and really gave that character some depth.
That set was so fun. It was so fun because like it's dense in
Yeah,
that area where he works.
yeah.
And we decorated it, dressed it the first time, and then we took it down by half.
Oh yeah. Well, you always have to have more. It's always better to have
Exactly.
more than less, then you're screwed.
Exactly. But it was just if you zoom in, and because of the way everything's shot in HD, everybody can put it on a
Yeah,
computer and zoom in. So every book is chosen. Every piece of paper has writing to character.
yeah,
So that if somebody does go in really tight, the character still follows through.
yeah. And that
And yeah,
well, that's the best part of our job, having the character there without any actors.
it is. And that was a gorgeous space. They
So
chose such a wonderful
it
location
was a
for us to.
location. I was going to ask if it was. It looked like a location because you must have been up on the second or third floor. Was that
We were up, I think, a little bit higher than
higher?
that. I think
Yeah,
we were on 7 or 8 for that one.
yeah,
But that's down in that area is all old factories and things like that. It's a lot of lofts in that area, so you get those beautiful brick tones
yeah,
and the beams, and that's
yeah. It was
heaven to
really
play
nice.
with.
You had kind of the opposite in episode 1 with the influencer's apartment, which was like pure white, and
Oh,
then you
thank you for noticing that.
and then just you kind of throwing in the color. Let's just say.
It was that was another location. That was actually this house, a very interesting location. It was a um, zero footprint house.
Hmm.
All the things that they built the house with were a zero footprint. So
And
the
then you have a
difficult
movie crew go in there.
right, but it was interesting because we couldn't nail into any walls
Right. Well,
because they were made from these special things that you could never pierce,
mm-hmm.
and interesting things like that. And our art for us is chosen very, very, very carefully. I spend days choosing art for characters, speaking to the production designer Eric, and I work really close together.
Yeah.
But speaking to him, speaking to costumes, so that characters not walking by and blending into the art,
Yeah.
and then working with the DP, so that he's getting the bounce of light and influence of color for where he wants the characters to be. But we spent so much time with art, and that character was so fun.
Yeah. Well, those
And the drape.
big kind of like just Andy Warhol's type big posters of themselves, but in
Yeah,
different color tones and everything, and that's always fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, if you get a chance to see that episode again, pay attention to the drapes.
No, the drapes, that's what I was going to say. It's a
Oh,
multicolor of drapes, not quite a rainbow, but you have like a
yeah,
palette there, and they're what, floor
yeah.
to ceiling, I think?
Floor to ceiling, and they
Hmm.
were silk.
Yeah, oh, they're
Um,
beautiful.
and we had the silk brought in from New York,
Mm.
and it was just so gossamer thin, and it just every time anybody moved in the space, the
They had
drapes
movement.
had that little bit of ripple, which helped with the character,
Oh, yeah.
and it was the ombre of pinks and lavenders and purples.
Yeah.
It just it felt very feminine, yet very. It wasn't Miami, but it felt a bit Miami
Mm-hmm. I could
because
see
you
that.
wanted her to be hot and cool, and hot as in hot, popular, and cool as in super, laid back, cool.
Well, it's
And
also, I mean, you're trying to guess, I mean, as we do with research, like I did a film with teenage girls, and I just start following
yeah,
teenage girls on Instagram, like I look like a weirdo or something, but you're
yeah,
trying to tap into to people's spaces and then
yeah.
relay them to our characters.
I have a niece who's very, very prominent in my thought process whenever I'm doing a young female character,
Mm,
because she calls and I hear about her friends and I hear about the things they're doing, and they're young, so I can get better
yeah,
information.
yeah,
And that character was a lot. I had my niece Zoe in my head when I was doing it, because her favorite color has always been pink. And so it was trying to see what in my head Zoe would look like if she was in that circumstance, and what kind of space would she like.
Nice.
And you do as a decorator, you try to look at the character, I find, and see how you can find you in them, and how you would perceive as them their environment.
Right.
Does that
Right.
make
Well,
sense?
yes, because even when you're sitting at a desk, well, is this person left-handed or right-handed? Where's the phone going to go? Where's the monitor? Like, you put all this stuff in and then they take the monitor out, but for shooting. But like,
Right.
you're still sitting at a desk, giving it personality.
Where are the Post-it notes?
Right.
Where's the easiest place for me to get this? What's in that drawer that they need to open?
Realistic, making it
Exactly.
making it real. What I didn't find, at least in the episodes I watched, is Alex's house, or Alex's house yet. We're not there yet. Are we getting there? I don't know, but
we always see a character's environment.
I'm sure we'll get there. But his office is fantastic with that graphic bookshelf that you have in there. I love it. Are there other specific pieces of dressing in there for his character that you really zeroed in on?
Very much so. Eric and I spent days sitting, discussing the way his character would be perceived, and working with images of Dan Ariely's spaces that Jesse's character is based on, Alec, and starting to grasp that a person that's as focused and as brilliant as they are would not be tolerant of frippery. Everything would be very purposeful, and the appreciation of art for the sake of the craft as opposed for the sake of the popularity. And so his desk is from it's a vintage desk from the 70s from Saint-Marie and Laurent. And it's a cantilever desk, and it's a super collectible. And then the bookcase, like you were saying, Alec's character relating to Dan Ariely, Dan has that bookcase, and it's from Germany. It's from a German company that works in all sustainable product. And the USM take a good look at the sideboards behind and in front of his desk, and those are the USM pieces, the chrome and the lacquered metal.
Oh, beautiful!
And they're original ones. So,
and they're beautiful. I love too how it's because it's not a regular bookcase in a sense where you can stand books straight up or anything.
Exactly.
And everything's kind of askew, which is really lends. I thought visually it really connects to his character. Yeah. And as you were saying, like, just because of the character who he is, doesn't mean that he's anal about everything.
No, it allows him to be there. There's that the way of designing, and the way a lot of people like their space to be very balanced, as in left and right side, and the same thing with the trees on either side of your door that look exactly the same.
Right.
That sort of mindset. But with Alec's character, it was very important that we visually demonstrated process.
Right.
And the process of getting from A to B thought-wise, and how is he doing that? And surrounding himself. If you look as the series progresses, if you look in the bookcase, different things keep appearing that will speak to things that he's doing and things that would influence his thought process at that time. And he would bring those things into his space so that he could influence his own process.
Right.
So there's a lot of interesting things in those bookcases, as you'll see snippets of them, but there's a lot of very interesting things.
And that office is a build, like Eric designed that office.
Yes.
It's not a
yeah. It was based on a location that during the pilot that we shot in, but then we sort of we were able to expand on it. Eric was able to give it a little bit more film friendliness, as well as create more light and things of that nature.
Because the graphics are really nice, again, against the white walls and the glass and everything that you can see through. We can see our furniture, we can see our sets. Like, I'm always a big fan of that, like having the depth to see other
It is,
rooms.
and we've our DOP Todd, who's so talented, really loves playing with light, and that's a decorator's dream. That
Yeah.
he actually loves the lamps, but uses them the way you would use them
Yeah.
instead of
It's
force
not
them
a
to do
lamp
something.
store. It's not.
Right.
It's not a lamp store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and sometimes you end up feeling like that, or you're pushed to go that way. But he's so talented.
No, it's always really nice when the lighting that's integrated into the set, which the designer then has mostly talked about, and like, how are we going to use this and everything. But then when we provide a practical to give that intimacy, because there's a one scene where his assistant is, I believe, in the conference room at the end of
In the lab
episode
next
2.
door.
Yeah, and it's just the glow of that light while she's working is really nice.
That's my. I have always, since I started into the business, always looked at a room, and I used to have an interior design company as well. So I've always looked at a room to understand what it will look like at night.
Right.
Because in the day you get what you see, but at night shadows start to play, and colors influenced by the color of the bulb and things of that nature. So stepping into film was because I already loved that. It was a very fun thing to have in my back pocket, and it's helped me work with DOPs quite well. That specular nature of something far off that gives you that glimmer in the back side of the right of their shoulder kind of idea.
Yeah. Great. Well, you have some great lighting in, is it Kylie's apartment? Kylie? Kylie.
Kylie's apartment.
That is fun. That is hot pink. Is it hot pink walls?
Yes.
And just, you have
and purple.
Ton of smalls and character pieces and plants and computers, and it's so well layered. It's really nice.
Thank you
It's
very
really
much.
Nice.
Eric let me go crazy with that one. He said, I want the walls to be pink and purple. Go.
What kind of matches her hair? She's kind
of. We didn't know in the beginning. We didn't know that he was going to change her hair to pink. So it was just fortuitous that we picked quite a deep shade. And so her hair plays beautifully against that hot pink. But bringing in all the wood, because the one thing you don't want is a space that's horribly dominated, or not horribly, but excessively dominated by the bounce of the color on the walls.
Right.
So as a decorator, you have to figure out the way to balance it, so that the color can be a show, but not a showstopper. If that makes sense. It's like wearing the wrong dress to a wedding.
Well, yeah, you don't want to overstep. You don't want to overdo it. Yeah.
So it's always important to bring the wood in.
Yeah.
I find with those hot colors, because the wood works with it, as opposed to bringing white laminate, which pops it, like we did in Jasmine's apartment. Jasmine's house, who was the character that was killed, the influencer. Because we went the opposite direction. Similar color hits as Kylie's, but used in a very different way.
But it's also it's very young, very fun.
Yeah.
Whereas the other, the influencer place looks like a almost like a business. Like she's
a little bit cold.
Yeah. But this is like, it's warm, even though it's pinks and purples. It's warm and it's homey and it's comfortable, and he's lounging on the couch and she's at her computer.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really nice.
It was. I have a wonderful team that works with me. Mm-hmm. Some really talented dressers that make my life a lot easier because they understand the way I think. So it's gotten to a point, we've been together for so long now that if I say something, sometimes it's, when you're giving instructions as a decorator, sometimes you sound a little crazy.
Yeah.
It's in your head and you're trying to articulate it.
I want it organized but messy.
Exactly. I want it, yes, but no.
But I've gotten that note many times. Like, it's organized, but, he's a hoarder.
Yeah. But he's a very balanced hoarder.
Yeah. But, like, we can walk around.
But it's funny, you even saying that, as soon as you say it, oh, okay, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see the picture of the stacks.
Yeah.
So it's good to have people that speak the language around you, and sometimes it's difficult to surround yourself, and it's always a process to get to people that can speak. They call it Brad needs in my group. And because I have a habit of you're always moving, you're always working 3 sets ahead, and Eric and I are always working quite in tandem together. So
Right.
I'm sometimes 2 and 3 episodes ahead trying to plan out what we're about to do, but we're dressing these sets now. So there's a lot of information that has to be dispensed, and you have to trust your team that they're going to understand what it is that you want to see. So
how many episodes is this season?
10.
10. And
Yes.
are you done shooting?
No. Once the strike is finished, we go back, and I believe we have 3 more to do.
Nice.
I believe it's 3 more.
And are you shooting an hour long? Are you like a 10-day shoot with a overlapping day?
I think we're about in that zone.
Yeah. So which I always liked with 1 hour is the reprieve of a weekend, kind of, because you have a lot of locations on this show too. Like you're at the AA meeting, you're over at the docks, you're like, and you're dressing the other sets, and you're tweaking your perm sets. So the weekend always gave it a nice little reprieve. But are your location work? It's pretty heavy on this show.
It is, but I really like locations because it speaks to what you were saying before, how having the new characters, it gives it a new energy and gives you a new energy with inspiration. That's what I find, because you never know what you're going to get when you walk into a space and that somebody else is living in.
Right.
And what you find and what they may or may not clear out and things of that nature. So, and you can't have your construction team move that wall 5 more inches because that couch doesn't fit.
You can't.
Or it doesn't fit in the right? Yeah. Or it doesn't fit in the elevator.
Yeah.
But you need it. And so it's all those things that you have to work on. It just makes it fun.
When the lead man comes over to you during the tech scout and is like, the elevator only opens up like 45, and you're like, what?
Oh, or they only have an elevator that is 5 feet wide, and the entrance is only 3 feet, and so there's no room to bend.
Yeah.
So you can only bring a modular sofa in.
I've had them take sofas. I haven't had them do it. They figured it out, like taking things over the balcony, taking things like.
I think we've all done it.
No, I don't push for anything. They just figure it out. Like, I don't know, they're magic.
That's when you know you have a good team, because they don't have to tell you about it, so you don't have to stress about it.
Do you have a favorite set that you've done for this show? At least you could talk about.
Kylie's. I love Kylie's, but Marissa's
house. I was going to get to that because it's such a difference. It is the polar opposite.
They needed to be counterpoint, but there needed to be a strong. Do you know how your best friends, you may be completely different from them, but there's a moral fiber that you share?
Yeah, definitely.
I needed to find that. We needed to find that with Marissa and Kylie. And the reason that Alec is so close with both of them, there needed to be, for me, visually, a little bit of a commonality. So the way we did that is adding a little bit more wood to Marissa's, and adding the plants and keeping the plants. I'm a big plant guy as a decorator.
Yeah. Well, it brings life to the set. It gives you life.
It does. And it's important. And again, it speaks to character. But that was how we played the two of them, the matching of the two of them. But stylistically, Marissa's a mature woman who's had a life and has had a history. So her place needed to look collected. But if you look at Kylie and look at what's in her space, and then look at Marissa and look at what's in Marissa's space, and then contemplate what Kylie would be like when she got older.
Yes. Oh, that's important. That's nice.
So just take a look and you'll see, because that was a little bit of what was in the back of my head, because it's that collected. But, as you get older, the art on your walls stops being prints and it starts being originals.
Oh, well, yeah. You grow up.
And exactly. And the collected like pots and things like that, they stop being shoved into places and you start featuring them.
Right.
And they look like,
You're
exactly.
evolving.
They look less like collectibles and more like art.
Yeah, that's a good.
I'm
gonna
look at
steal
Marissa's
that.
place and her bookshelves in the family room. I love.
I do love those. Those are really good.
And the counters in her kitchen.
I don't know if I
Take a look.
Saw those.
You catch it when she and Alec are having that one evening where they're going over case files about episode 2. Episode
and he goes to the wrong cabinet.
He goes to the wrong cabinet. Take a look at what's happening with her counters, because again, it's working with our props man, Andrew Watling. He and I have been working together for years now.
Oh, nice.
And we work there's quite a good synergy. So he needs stuff that he can use as he's doing things. And her counters were a very fun thing to work on. There's a little bit of blue and white. Yeah, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it says, I've traveled, I've had a life, I have these things happening.
With or without him.
With or without. Well, it was important that it didn't look like him at all.
Right. She took him out because they separated.
She edited him right out.
Divorced, yeah.
Yeah.
The independence of changing. I don't know if I'd change my cup drawer, but I guess.
Well, I don't know. My mother still comes over to my house and moves mine back to the way she likes it.
That's fine.
And then leaves again. So
there you go.
Things change.
I'm so glad to have met you. It's always such a pleasure to meet another decorator, and especially someone who I would probably never get to meet without this podcast. So thank you so much for giving me some time. I'm really enjoying the show. I'm glad I'm watching it and picked it up. So yeah, thanks so much. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Yes, thank you so much. And like you said, it was really nice to meet you. It's nice to talk to somebody that speaks the same language.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody else can.
I think they do. I think we're not that complex.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I always feel like I try to dumb this down a little bit for other people, but if they're listening, they're interested and they want to know our lingo. So I always feel like we're doing them a favor of just taking it up a notch and just talking.
And people that like this stuff, they're watching a lot of decorating shows and they're paying attention to what we're doing, like the little lamp on your top shelf.
Oh yeah.
They're seeing all of these details.
I still get emails every once in a while like, where did you get that blanket on Bones? And I'm like, bro, that was like 15 years ago. I know. I don't know. And it's gone.
I was doing a show previously and I had constantly had to go to the producers and say, can I answer this email? They're asking me what Benjamin Moore color is on this wall, or they're asking me what color the matting is around that picture.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, interesting questions.
Oh, that's a good one.
We have a lot of high end in that other life. And you get people really digging into the details because they want to achieve a look.
I like it though. I like that people are paying attention to not just faces. So it's nice.
Yes.
And so thank you. As I said, The Irrational is on Peacock. I'm not sure if it's on NBC. I'm just streaming now. I don't know. I cut the cord. So I just know it's on Peacock. But it's a good little find. Like I'm going to keep up with it and throw an episode on here and there. And then they're releasing them, I think, like one a week. So you can binge it at the end, which is always great. I love talking to decorators about like their inspiration for characters, and like when he was talking about the social media person with the white walls and the color and, you know, making it fresh and new and young and hip, and, you know, how we visually can describe that character without any actors and words being said. That's the real challenge, and I think he's done a great job with this show. So thank you, Bradley, so much for coming on, and I do appreciate it. So nice to meet you. Yeah, next week I think I can do it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna release next week the film design film study. I didn't even say it right. The Production Design Film Study. I've worked so hard and I just messed up the whole title. Production Design Film Study. And I have some fantastic friends and colleagues who have helped me with this in watching films and dissecting them with our design eyes and trying to teach people about production design and trying to show people like how sets were developed and what we think about, like especially like super old ones. Like with production designer Jamie McCall, we did 1929, and one of the films of the 5 that were nominated, we couldn't find a really good copy of it. It was so dark and so distorted because it's almost 100 years old. So, we try to decipher, like, do you think there was a set? How could they build all that? Like, how did they build that in 1929? It's fantastic. Like, it's so exciting to go back and look at all these old films. So I would be excited to hear feedback on that if you got a chance. And I look forward to that coming up. And many, some really good interviews coming up too that, I never like to say because then I jinx it. So yeah. So I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.
Welcome to Pro Tips for the Pros, brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads. In this series, we'll explore essential advice for professional contractors to deliver outstanding renovation results. Let's dive in. Clear communication is key to a successful renovation. Keep the customer informed at every stage of the project, addressing any concerns or questions promptly to maintain trust and satisfaction. Thank you for joining us for this pro tip on planning thorough renovations. Stay tuned for more expert advice brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads.
A lot of people tolerate ordinary. Ordinary bathrooms, kitchens, entryways. Well, not on your watch. If you're a pro, you've got a new partner in town. Floor & Decor. From tile to wood to stone, Floor & Decor has more styles and job lot quantities of Schluter, Mapei, Laticrete, and other brands pros trust. Come see a whole new way to wow with Floor & Decor. Coming soon to Bailey's Crossroads.